Lakin come in and speak to our community on decluttering your life, your mental and physical spaces. And through her framework of using her life audit wheel, identifying your energy vampires, and then creating a space physically in your home that can be relaxing and bring forward the next steps in your life that you're looking for, Lakin walked through some great steps for our community. She also provides a workbook for you to be able to download and really take this into action steps going forward. So go ahead, jump in, watch this session with Lakin, and then download the workbook to change your life in 20 days.
And I was still feeling like really not great about life. And I was feeling burnt out at the end of the day of my 9 to 5. Coming home, I didn't have a lot of energy. Then started like the mom guilt spiral of not feeling good on being able to be present at home and everything. So then I started to look at like, there's got to be something else here. There's got to be different answers. Landed on the first business that I created. And then I realized how much mindset and all of those pieces are so crucial to having success in business or your career, whatever it is that you're pursuing. Then I decided to go ahead and pivot. I went back and I got a certification to become a coach and focus on mindset and development. And since then, I've been a coach for 3 years. I worked with over 200 moms building their own businesses, and it's been great. So that's really where I'm coming from today. And I can just vouch on just the importance of being able to like declutter your life, like making it lighter physically and mentally, because those spaces really reflect on each other. So wherever we are mentally, our physical spaces will be reflecting that, and the same for our physical spaces. So it's really important in setting that intention to be able to release what is like physically there and holding up space so that it's creating more energy to be able to accept new things to come in. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. And how does this look, guys? Is this all good? Good, thank you. Okay, so a little bit about this is that I'm just going to be here to help you guys to really just simplify and make space for what that you're really wanting to make space for. So today we're going to be addressing how to be able to do a life audit and then actionable steps for decluttering your home and systems to be able to keep it that way. Because it's very easy to be able to go through and do all the work, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, you're like, what the heck just happened? And then ways to also declutter other areas of your life and how to set boundaries, because again, that makes it very easy for things to be able to come and seep back in. And then dealing with energy vampires. And I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of that term, but those things that are coming in and they're taking away a lot of your energy, and it doesn't feel good to be around it, whether it's physical items, relationships. There's a lot of different energy vampires. So a little bit more about me. I already pretty much introduced myself, but yeah, again, I was there. I was burnt out. I felt just really like a lackluster for life, and I was just ready to do something else. So I get it, and I'm hoping to be able to help you guys with that today. So the life audit, this is my wheel of how I go through, and there's also going to be a worksheet. So if you just like want to be present and here for this call, so you can do that, or if you prefer to take notes live, however it is, but this is all going to be broken down in the workbook. But to be able to do a life audit, I look at all of these different categories of life and to really be able to do a deeper dive of what is going on inside of all of these. So to be able to better understand like where you're going and what you're wanting to do, it's to be able to find out where you are starting at today. So it's by slowing down and being able to intentionally look at all of these places, and then you can find where that gap is coming from whenever you're looking at life now versus where you want your life to be in 5 years. So first, you'll be able to dive into all of these categories. You're going to rate it from 1 to 10, and then being able to be clear on what a 10 really means for you, and being able to describe that. So that way you can actually see, okay, so maybe I'm at a 5 right now with my career. Like I know that there's something more. I want to do a lot more things with it. But being able to rate, like, what is a 10? What does that look like whenever you've made it? And that helps you be able to have a lot more clarity with setting intentions on where you're wanting to go. And then that's going to also help you with getting those action steps. So that way you're able to monitor and be able to track and see what are those small action steps that you can start taking every day. And you're tracking it for yourself to be able to see that movement over time. Oops, I keep doing that. And then whenever you're going to be looking at all of these, you're going to be taking inventory over your life. So what is going on in there? Whenever you're rating each category, where are you in each of these things? Whether it's with the relationships, your career, your finances, your emotions, your literacy, like what skills are you wanting to be able to learn and to take on more of? Where are you lacking? What are you wanting more of? And being able to expand on that. So that way you're actually intentionally creating step by step that life that you're actually wanting to live, rather than just, it's so easy to get on that roller coaster of every day looking the same and you're overwhelmingly consumed with it. And you're just like, what the heck is going on? I'm stuck in Groundhog Day. Like, I want something to change. So whenever you're looking at these and being able to rate them and be able to find the action steps, you're going to start to see some changes and being able to get curious on, why am I in this place right now? Why am I out of 5? What belief systems do I have that have kept me in this place? Is it because I feel I need to learn a little bit more before I can move on to this next step? Do I feel I'm ready for it? Am I feeling unworthy of this next thing? Or whatever stories, it's so easy to be stuck in this story guideline of, well, I've always been this way, or right now life is just too crazy and I need to wait for it to slow down. So being able to really get curious and offer yourself some grace, because some things you're going to be able to be like, wow, I did not know that this is probably one of the stories that are really affecting me and keeping me here. And then setting the intentions around it. Now that you know what is going on, you can set intentions. Maybe it looks like setting your top 3 goals in the categories that you want to focus on right now. If you're setting quarterly goals, what categories of life do you really want to focus on right now? Rather than being, sorry,
a couple of questions before we go to the next page. Is there a goal to increase like one level up within a time period? Is the goal to be at a 10? So if you look at this and you're at a 5, you're like, man, I really want to get to a 10, or is it, I just want to get to a 6 or a 7? And how often should you do the audit for your life?
I always recommend looking at it quarterly, because that spaces it out enough, mainly because if you are doing it every month, sometimes some of these action steps are needing to be a little bit more compounded. So being able to look at it quarterly, it gives you a little bit more space and time to be able to make that progress and be able to see the needle moving, rather than looking monthly then and being like, I don't know what happened this month, but I didn't get there. Obviously, it's always nice to be able to aim for that big 10, but sometimes that 10 is going to be maybe 5 or 10 years from now. And by the time that you get 5 or 10 years from now, your dreams probably expanded again. And then you're going to keep chasing that 10 again.
Yeah.
So
the only thing I would add to that is like that should be exciting, right? Like it should be a good thing that you keep chasing that 10 rather than feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm never getting there.
yes. So that's what's always great, is because by the time that you're reevaluating it, you're relooking at, okay, where am I actually at right now? And then what is the new 10? And it's exciting and it's expansive, because if you look at, so say if you like to journal, and this is how you like to do your life audit and really break down the goals that you have in each category, looking at those goals over time, and say in a year from now, you look back at what your 10 was, and you might be surpassed that and having a whole new thing that's a 10. And you never would have placed that on there before. You never probably thought that was possible. And that's the goal, because you're always able to be able to do new, bigger things. And it's as you start to strive for that where you are right now, new things become available, and you're expanding yourself and your mindset to be able to believe that these things are possible for you in your life. So, yes, it's good. So as you set those intentions and really being able to break down, where is it that you want to go? What are the 3 categories right now in this quarter that you're really wanting to see those needles moving in? Is it that relationships are feeling really heavy right now and you're really wanting to take a deeper dive? Like, I need a community of women. How can I start to break that down into small actionable steps every day or every week to be able to build that community that I'm looking for? It's probably not going to start right away with 10 or 15 women that you have in there. It's going to start with one small relationship at a time. And then looking at the energy vampires in each of those categories, they're going to look different based on how you're feeling and where you are right now with life. You're going to notice different vampires whenever you're rating relationships or finances or your business or career. What is it in that right now that is physically or mentally draining you? How can you set different types of boundaries around that to be able to protect yourself from it? If you can, some of these things could be released, and if not, then the boundaries come into place on if it is a certain person that's in your life that you physically have to still have around, if it's a boss, an in-law, somebody in your direct family. Maybe you can't totally release the relationship at this point in time, but there are boundaries that you can evaluate on. When does this really drain me and make me feel not great? And setting out those guidelines for yourself on what can I do to better support myself so this isn't happening. Sometimes it looks like setting boundaries within yourself as well. If it's your physical environment. Is it that's getting really overwhelmed and crowded very frequently? Is it that you maybe are self-sabotaging and you're draining yourself because you have this goal and you're just not able to keep with all the static different things that you have to be doing? And being able to set those boundaries to best protect yourself and to support yourself on the way to these goals. And sometimes it looks like people pleasing. We want to keep people happy. So being able to look at where am I sacrificing myself, whether in the relationships or to clients or to your boss, and where are you not staying true to yourself and in alignment to be able to not have that energy drain from you. And looking at your schedule even. What are things that are blocked off on your schedule that are probably not needed anymore? And what are some ways that you can save your time to be able to protect it? So then that way you can use it intentionally for things that are going to fill you up. And that's where really good systems and rituals can come into place. If you're noticing that you're accidentally spending 3.5 hours at the grocery store, would it be easier to be able to go ahead and get them delivered? And other examples like that, and setting yourself up better in the evening to be able to let your mornings be easier. Just how can you support yourself to let these things be easier?
Lakin, can you talk a little bit about how it's not all or nothing when we're setting boundaries and that we get to define kind of those standards?
Yeah. So with boundaries, sometimes it's a really scary word, especially depending on the person or thing that we're needing to set it with. So sometimes boundaries get categorized as like, okay, I've got to cut off my mother-in-law because she's really overstepping. And maybe that just looks like, okay, where are the categories of where she is overstepping? And how can I start this by slowly having conversations? And maybe even asking yourself, does this person even know that they're doing it? If it's a person. And being able to be aware on, do they know? Having a conversation with it and being able to talk it through and being able to see their awareness might not be there. Sometimes they're receptive, sometimes they're not. If they're not, you did your piece and letting them be aware and to helping them see the behavior that is uncomfortable for you? And then what are some pieces that you can set into place for whenever those boundaries are teetering very closely? Like there's that line. So it might just look like, I don't appreciate you always coming over and stopping uninvited at our house. But however, how about we set something up for like on Sunday evenings at this time you come to visit? And like helping them structure and schedule it. It might take some time and some practice. And especially if you are a people pleaser, it's going to feel very uncomfortable in the beginning. You might be scared of a harsh reaction, but remembering that their reaction to your boundary has nothing to do with you. It's about something within them of the boundary being set. And then even with physical things, if it is that you're being able to bring so many things into your house and things keep getting really cluttered and you're noticing that you're buying things too often and you're not using it, and setting boundaries with yourself on what you're buying and maybe asking yourself 3 different questions on like, do I actually need this? What would I be using this for? And making sure that's like a valid rather than just an emotional buy, so that you're not setting yourself up to just keep on cleaning it up week after week. So then, as we move through on being able to identify those energy vampires, to be able to look at what your ideal life looks like. So what do you want life to look like 5 or 10 years from now? And to be able to, even 20 years from then, to be able to look back on what your life looks like. What do you want to remember of the highlights? And looking at how do you want to feel in each of these categories? Looking at your belief system on what you think that your ideal life looks like. So right now you might have a certain vision on where you think you can go in a year from now or in 5 years from now. And if it feels really constricted, being able to look at what part of me believes that this is where it taps out. Finding the belief systems that are supporting that or lack of, and be able to see what story you're living in and whatever pattern you're living in. Is it that I need to do X, Y, and Z before I can pursue this? Or I'm not sure if I'm worthy enough to be able to do this. Most of the time that's a very deeper root, and the worthiness root will hide behind other belief systems, maybe procrastination or just self-sabotage of not being able to get yourself to sit down and be able to do something. So there are these deeper roots and belief systems and stories that we're telling ourselves that are being able to guide ourselves. So whenever we can take a deeper look at that, we can totally change the perspective of the way that we're going to be going. So even if it's looking at setting what the 10 looks like now, and then being able to look at those belief systems and noticing where you are really limiting yourself, and going back and being like, no, a 10 looks like this now that I know that this is possible. And then looking at what does your calendar look like in your ideal day? And that will also help you with setting boundaries with your time and your energy. On 3 years from now, where do you want to be in your career or your business? What are the things that you're filling up your blocks with? What are you no longer doing and you've hired out? And being able to get intentional to get yourself to that place and starting to embody that now. So if in a year from now, you're only working 4-hour days, how can you rework your schedule now to be more intentional with the times that you are working? Or if it's you no longer want to be doing certain types of work and you're wanting to slowly start to pivot, how can you start to bring that into your schedule now? And with routines and rituals, using those to be able to set yourself up for success. There's a really good book called Atomic Habits if any of you have read it yet, or if not, it's a really good one if you struggle to be able to set up habits that are sustainable. And it's really about looking at what are your bad habits now and what are the good habits you want to start to embody and to bring into your life, and starting to make those bad habits harder to do and making the good habits easier. So if you accidentally binge Netflix on a regular basis, unplugging the TV every time that you're done watching it, if you're setting an intentional time that you watch it, unplugging it or taking the batteries out of the remote and putting them somewhere else. So it's making it harder for you to do it, so you just can't think about it and turn it on. And for the good habits, you can set up different rituals to be able to do it. So if you love your coffee in the morning, being able to set your, if you want to journal more, being able to set your journal right beside the coffee machine so that whenever you hit brew, you grab your journal and can go and sit and journal for 5 minutes while it starts to brew. So what are those habits you want to embody that are going to get you closer to that 10? And make those habits and routines easier for you to be able to bring it into your life now. So if you're looking at that gap from where you are right now and why you are right now, right there, and what a 10 looks like, what are the different habits that 10 life looks like? And how can you start to bring that into today? So we've really talked a lot about mental and focusing on that sort of way of decluttering your life. So now moving into physically decluttering your home. And that is so important to getting yourself closer to that number 10 life, because whenever your environment feels good and you feel good to be in that, you perform so much better, you feel better, there's a different type of radiance within you because you feel good to be in your environment, and you deserve that. You deserve to feel good whenever you're looking around your home rather than to feel stressed. So to start with setting intentional and realistic goals and breaking it down. Are you wanting to do the whole house? And if so, what is something that you can do? Because honestly, for me, my first time ever decluttering my house, I made more of a mess than what I did good for the first few days. And it was drastic. So instead of being able to do, like it took the whole day, honestly, for the first time that I started to be able to bring these habits in. And I felt more overwhelmed than good. So if it is feeling good for you to set like a 20-minute timer and saying whatever I get done in 20 minutes in this room, that's what I get done today. Or if it is breaking down in the room. So say, I always recommend like starting with like the bathroom or the kitchen. That's going to be like the least sentimental room that you don't have to worry about parting with things. It's more about like expiration dates and are you actually using these items? So it's very easy to be able to separate with those things. Being able to look at that, like, are you starting within the bathroom? Can you just do underneath the sink today? And that's however long it takes you, you at least get it done and you get it wrapped up. And then making another goal for, is it every other day or once a week you're wanting to do this, and setting just those small goals that are small wins, and you can still see the progress over time. And thinking about this as you go through and you're setting these goals for yourself on when you want to declutter your home, how do you want your house to feel? What are the types of memories you want to make in your house? And how do you want to feel about those memories being in your house? And being able to visualize those memories and being able to see what it feels like, rather than looking on a Friday night and being able just to relax the kids on, instead like looking and seeing all the things you need to clean up. So you're going into the weekend not feeling stressed on keeping up with everything and catching up on what you missed out on during the week. And being able to celebrate yourself in your progress and honor the emotions that are going to come up. Because as you work through different rooms, you're going to come across different items that are very sentimental to you. And just being able to honor yourself with that and your own time and what you need to be able to work through those pieces. So before starting each room, I would look at, how do I want to feel in this room? And how do I want my guests to feel in this room? And what is currently keeping it from feeling that way right now? So if you're just starting with the kitchen, on just, maybe you're doing a couple cabinets a night, or going through the pantry during the day, and just setting these small actionable steps to be able to go through things. And small but steady progress is always progress. And work your way into the bathroom and being able to go through the closets and the towels and all the different items that you have. If you haven't used it probably within the last 6 months, is it something that you use at all? There's some items that you'll still have in there that you know you're going to use on special occasions that you might need to keep on to. But there's some things that probably haven't been used in quite a while and you don't need. Then being able to work into your room. And how do you want to feel in your own bedroom? I think that your bedroom should actually feel like your own oasis, like that is your own space to be able to feel most at home and to be able to feel the emotions you need to feel whenever you need to feel them. And what else can you do to be able to make your room more of a reflection of you, of who you are, not who mom is? And what items in there can you release? And sometimes part of decluttering is releasing those items and then also bringing in some of the new stuff. Have you let go of some of your hobbies and you're ready to be able to clean out the clutter from a few of the drawers and being able to bring back some of your old hobbies? I'm a huge supporter of always doing something creative in your own time, because that just fills the soul. As children, we always love to be able to do something fun and to be able to nurture that inner child of yours, that whatever it was that you love to do, if you love to paint or you love to draw or to color, and to get some of those to be able to bring that in for your self-care time. It's important for you to fill up your own cup too. It's very hard to fill from an empty cup. You can't pour out of that. And going through the kids' rooms. Maybe it looks like organization first, on separating the toys, being able to go through things, and then trying to separate with whatever toys are no longer necessary, or being able to donate things, putting things into storage. And then the rest of the storage spaces for closets and garage. And this is a quote that I absolutely love. Because we all do deserve to have a space that we feel safe and at peace and happy. And that we're proud to show off as ours. And that's a nice reflection of who we are on the inside. And what our family embodies. And being able to bring in what our family morals are and different things that we like to value. Just remembering that you're always worthy. You're going to come up across a lot of different little inner demons that are going to be coming up, making you feel like you're stuck or that you've peaked at right now, or you need to wait until life gets easier and less chaotic. And you don't have to stay in that cycle. It just takes a few small action steps to break yourself out of that cycle. You're fully capable of that life that you have implanted in your mind and those big dreams that you see planning out for your life. So action steps from here, being able to go and download the workbook. It's going to have the big outline of all the categories of life to be able to do your full life audit and helping you dive in to be able to establish boundaries. What are the areas that you know already? You're like, I need to tighten up on that. And setting the goals and intentions for your home. What do you want to feel whenever you walk into your house? And then visualizing that. And then breaking down the steps for how long do you want it to take for you to declutter your home? Do you want it to be over a month's time or several months? And just setting that timeline out for yourself and putting it on your calendar and making it something that's fun for yourself, because sometimes you dread it and you talk yourself out of doing it. So if you like to listen to some fun music, on just putting music on the background, doing something special for yourself. Maybe you go and get a smoothie or whatever kind of drink you really like to really set the tone for the day. That really helps. And that is all that I have for that. I will.
Thank you so much, Lakin. That was so